All right, good evening. I'm Vice Forecaster JD Rapp with you in the Illinois Storm Watch Weather Center. We just have a tornado warning. This includes St. Louis, and we just got another one in place, so we'll stick around just with you just for a little while. A tornado warning has just got issued, so it looks like we're going to have to stay on the air with you just for a little bit. We kind of figured it out. We could have a little, we could see maybe an isolated tornado warning or two up in St. Louis. So this is a tornado warning. So fires. I'm going to try to get Isaac or in with us. He's a little close to this warning. So tornado warning goes in effect to 7:45. No confirmed report of a tornado on the ground right now. So hold on, I'll be just with you just a second, Isaac, or whoever's there.
All right. So I'm following.
Isaac, we got a tornado warning in place.
Yeah, we have two warnings actually. Obviously, one in Pike County, Illinois, Pike County, Missouri, as well. So I'm following this this on radar.
We kind of thought we escaped the worst of this, didn't we?
Yeah, sure. So if you'll give me a moment here.
Okay.
Obviously we're monitoring this cell here in Pike County, Missouri here, fairly closely here. Looks like this couplet here, just north of Louisiana, Missouri, right around the Mississippi River. We're getting some pretty strong outbound velocity here from the St. Louis radar. So we can see pretty tight rotation with that cell. It is going to be tracking along a few miles north of Highway 54. This will be tracking ultimately to the Rockport area and along just west of the Pittsfield area.
All right,
Highway 106 near I-72. Yes. Again,
will Fulton County, Illinois get hit?
Okay, so Fulton County, there is the potential for some of the, so we have this line of thunderstorms tracking across west central Illinois. We're gonna download some of the data here, see how these storms are behaving. These are moving into an environment. See the temperatures are in the upper 50s. So I mean the surface, if you get anything at the surface, it's marginally favorable. We don't expect a substantial threat of tornadoes here across west central Illinois, but these storms will be, I think they're moving into an environment where it's backed by some decent low-level directional shear, and if anything, we got that negatively tilted upper feature and some of the falling atmospheric heights further aloft. So a lot of the instability we're seeing with this activity is elevated. And again, we are getting some strong downward forcing further aloft. So some strong downdrafts with these, and we're getting some mixing at the ground. So when we're mixing in with some of this southeasterly flow, see winds are coming out of the southeast. All ahead of this, temperatures are in the 50s. We do have, some observations put us right around 60 degrees. Probably right ahead of these showers and thunderstorms. And I did look to my west. There was some clearing, but we do have an area of showers tracking across the Illinois Valley. But what I'm ultimately paying attention to is how storms are behaving in this general area I'm highlighting with my cursor, my mouse. But we can tell there's probably a little bit more instability, and we can see this could be acting. So we got some stronger winds at the ground, and what that's helping to do when we get that mixing further aloft, that we're getting some tightening with this rotation here.
Pause a second. I got some damage coming in right now. We got one report coming in, minor damage to houses on 160.
Okay, is that confirmation of a tornado or tornado damage?
That is
thunderstorm wind damage. Okay. Yeah, that seems to be coming out of Wapello, Iowa, Wapello County, Iowa. And again, this is along the same line of storms. And yes, we still have some questions here about Fulton County. Again, we will do our best to address the concern for you folks in Fulton County. But again, what I'm interested in, see this line, this particular cell is tracking due north, almost due northeast towards Interstate 72 between Pittsfield and Griggsville by probably around within the next half hour or so. And ultimately, what we're paying attention to, I'm going to go ahead and take a quick look at some of the mesoanalysis data here. And again, kind of address this sort of in more and try and get a better answer here for you folks in closer to home across the Illinois River. But
folks, if you're in this morning, you need to seek shelter now.
Yeah, so if anything, I can tell that we're backed by some, some weaker speed shear near the ground there, but still sufficient. I mean, if anything, but I mean, really what I'm paying attention to is these numbers right here. So this is the change in wind direction with altitude and how it's measured. And we got 250 M2S2 on the storm relative helicity here on the 0 to 1 kilometer layer. So I mean, there's quite a bit of decent spin in the atmosphere. So if anything, I think paying attention to is a lot of these areas. We do have some. This is very weak surface instability, so we're not talking about a substantial tornado threat by any means. But again, I ultimately want to see what we have at the mix layer too, because some of this mixes down at the surface and helps erode that capping inversion at times when you do get this at the ground. I think a lot of the instability we are seeing here would be trailing this line of storms here. But again, we can see this particular cell has probably I was going to say, just zooming in on it, as we're going to pay very close attention. Obviously, the rotation has been fairly tight here. It's a track through the Bowling Green area and it's paralleling Highway 54 a bit. And we're watching communities, Pittsfield proper, I would probably say, it is not in the polygon, but still probably should take your precautions. And what I'm interested in seeing here, the lowest flow of your home. I was going to say, it looks like the temperatures are still increasing here. So I mean, I think we might be getting somewhat broader but weak instability returns with this, but I think where we're getting these stronger southeasterly winds here, that's it's helping drive some of the wind. It's helped creating this environment there where, well, obviously the temperatures above the ground, they may be somewhat warmer, but what this is helping to do, this line of storms, at times the capping inversion may erode just ahead of these storms. And I noticed that we've had some clearing skies out there. And I still got to check in with our friends at Storm Community here as we're heading into sunset. So I think there's that possibility that the I was going to say here. Now looking at some tightening wind shear here, we're also monitoring this cell here further south into, so this is where we have some stronger instability down here. So we're monitoring some of these showers and storms tracking across eastern Missouri here. And this cell looks a little concerning there. That is where we have a possible couplet. This cell may go tornado warn near Troy, areas north of there, fairly closely. Yeah, this cell right here.
Up here, but it takes time to come up. See, look at that. We're starting to get a new cup
Yeah, that is the cell we are
right
monitoring
there. It's
north of
trying to pull
Troy, Missouri.
again that red next to green there. Yeah, so I wouldn't take cover yet if you live in Troy, but you definitely need to be aware this storm does has the potentially some rotation there. So you live in Troy, you could go under another tornado warning.
I wouldn't say Troy proper, probably
Things
areas
continue.
north of
If you're in
Troy,
this polygon,
heading into
okay,
sections of. So I mean, this tornadic couplet will be tracking into Calhoun County and southern sections of
yeah.
Pike County here within the next a little over half hour or so. So again, probably within the next half hour, this cell looks like we got some increasing shear with that. It's really rotation is definitely tightening with it, and each new scan we're getting here, I mean, I'm gonna see what the National Weather Service in St. Louis's Twitter bot is, because I'm pretty certain that this cell will probably go tornado warned here within the next couple of minutes if this rotation
If you and
persists. So.
if you and Rockport up here, you into your safe spot. Make sure you go to the basement if you have one down.
Yeah, so this rotation
Or
is really starting to tighten right here.
Folks, this is tighten up. So I'm checking our debris signature. Got a little blue spot here, Isaac. Just trying to come in there. That is probably indicate we could have a little bit of debris.
Well, that is not a distinct debris signature, but that is possible. If you're getting a discrete area of lower colors, so I mean that there could be clutter with that. So if you're getting green completely surrounded by reds and yellows and stuff, so that's where we could likely classify something as debris with that. But again, no evidence of a radar confirmed tornado. Possible debris with it, but what we're mostly following is this environment here in southwest parts of Illinois. Here, the southern Illinois Valley near where the confluence is around the Mississippi River, but also monitoring some additional cells, again developing some surface-based or low-level convection here west of St. Louis. I think that's where the temperatures and dew points are much warmer. And what we're getting there is, I think, some kind of surface-based convection here. Just getting a glimpse of this off of the St. Louis radar, you're getting some cells really starting to pop up here. And I'll show you what I'm talking about. I have the radar here out of St. Louis looping. I'm going to just zoom into this particular area. You can see how quickly these cells are developing there. These predominantly appear to be surface-based. But again, really, this is being backed by some strong southeasterly flow, and I think it's kind of that enhancing we're getting from that trough. And you can see the low level moisture returns and everything. Dew points are in the 50s. So if anything, at least at the ground where the is, I think that's where you're getting a little bit more forcing with these. So you can see how quickly.
New severe thunderstorm warning. New warning.
Yeah, so this is for Calhoun, Pike, and Pike County in Missouri. We can see that this cell appears to have some tightening still has some very tight rotation. Obviously, no confirmation of a tornado, but I think so. Right obviously, here. This is you can see some very weak inbound velocities here to St. Louis. So if anything, this is some tight rotation with this cell, and they've highlighted the possibility of a tornado with the storm, although it is not necessarily tornado warned. So we got Clarksville, Missouri, towards Nebo and Pleasant Hill area. And here, again, I would definitely take this as
60 miles a gust.
Yeah, I was going to say the okay. And yeah, they're using the wording that this thunderstorm is capable of producing all modes of severe weather. Interior room, bathroom, closet, or basement. Yeah, I was going to say
So
I would.
you
There's
got to just take it as
possibility
a
that this
thunderstorm
could
that could
go.
do some damage and winds.
Yeah, sure. But again, damaging winds is a possibility with this thunderstorm. But I'm monitoring these storms further downstream here. You can see the Troy area, and you can see where we're getting some of that enhancement from the and a little bit more mixing from some of these stronger height falls further aloft. That's helping to enhance the low level shear associated with this. And this thunderstorm has really started to tighten up. And again, I would just keep a close eye on this. Yeah, so I'm going to look at the past scan or two, download some of the additional data. Let's see what we got. Well, yeah, I mean, while this wouldn't be a distinct debris signature. There could possibly be a tornado. You never know. But again, this is the
You want to be
storm
safe than
base.
sorry.
Yeah. So I mean, you're not always gonna. So I mean, you're not always gonna tell based on radar that a tornado is in progress. And once again, just pointing out that. Again, sometimes debris does not make it to an altitude where the radar can depict it either. So again, this rotation is really tightened up, and the last scan, you can see how it's yeah. I was going to say we got some stronger inbound velocities with that scan, and yeah.
You want to take cover now. I mean, this storm has given us, me and Isaac, signs of some very tight rotation. And we're not tight to see a possible tornado with the storm. I mean, we don't have no tornado wind on the board right now, but it doesn't mean you would get a tornado. You can still there?
Yeah, it's my internet's glitching on me. It's probably just the upload speeds and how it's we have old fiber lines, so it's but yeah, you can see some fairly tight rotation there and around Paynesville. Over the next hour or so, this cell will track into areas around I-72, probably towards the Illinois River. So I mean, I would be alert. Especially some of these communities here, such as some of these counties over the next couple of hours. So I mean, Fulton, Schuyler. I know we've had questions across Fulton County, but I want to pay attention, see if if these storms continue to maintain the environment with the amount of instability. I think instability is on the downward trend, but I think we're still going to be talking about a damaging wind, maybe a isolated, if any, kind of tornado risk with this. I don't expect a substantial tornado risk with this area of thunderstorms by any means. However, once again, these storms, the wind shear has been fairly tight. So again, I will point out that again, sometimes folks down at the Weather Service may opt with a severe thunderstorm warning instead of a tornado warning sometimes. But again, that is fairly tight rotation there. A tornado might not be in progress at the moment, just according to radar, but according to spotters and ultimately, what's happening on the ground, we can't tell. So, I mean, you never know if you got something going on. But to address the rest of the folks in west central Illinois, again, the wind shear is not particularly a concern. But I mean, still, we got some strong southeasterly winds here ahead of this line of storms. So if we're continuing to see some height falls within this general area, I think that will kind of enhance the wind shear that will occur with along this line of storms as it continues to track into the Illinois Valley. Folks in Peoria, I mean, I don't expect a substantial tornado threat by any means, but again, probably an isolated, stronger storm across the rest of central Illinois, probably more than likely in the form of isolated damaging winds with this line. But again, just I've looked at some of the mesoanalysis data. I think we still have some directional shear with this. So, I mean, while that may lead to a brief spin up along the line, we don't expect the concern with a substantial tornado threat into the rest of central Illinois by any means, really. So we're going to monitor how these storms behave as they track into environment with still some lingering low-level directional shear. But again, I think that since the temperatures and instability are on the downward trend, I think Cape values are relatively low. So if anything, this is being driven by some of the stronger low-level directional shear. But really, there's not much instability. And again, just looking at low-level moisture and everything, dew points and temperatures are in the 50s. So, I mean, you don't commonly associate that with tornadoes necessarily. But again, these storms are, the wind shear is definitely tightening up. So, I mean, we're going to see if this cell, the rotation's still fairly tight with this storm here. But again, it's I'm going to see if this, just according to these scans here, I think this probably will end up holding together. Again, tracking into if that wind shear holds together, I might want to check in with this storm. Yeah, I mean, the rotation's weaker with that one. That's the good news. So again, sometimes you're getting those cool pockets further aloft, which kind of help, kind of enhance that low-level wind shear, and maybe again, the conditions may be marginally favorable for something to spin up. Just looking at the conditions that I've been seeing here relatively recently with that.
You live in Clarkville, you might want to be shipping stuff.
Yeah, I will point out again. Okay, tornado warning for Pike, Calhoun counties, and Pike County, Missouri. I think it's for that thunderstorm. It's that cell in Clarksville. Yes, it just went tornado warned.
Okay, so
I'll show you right here. Tornado warning now for this cell. Again, the rotation appears to continue. It is definitely holding together. And we're still. I think we're seeing some stronger outbound velocities with that. And I think I'm going to check the dual pol again. Still clutter with that, but I think that definitely still rotation that appears to be holding together. And again, tornado warning now for again Calhoun and Pike counties. I was going to say Clarksville, Missouri, Bellevue, Pleasant Hill areas. I was going to say, tornado warning is an upgrade to the severe thunderstorm warning for this particular area. So again, still a potential for embedded damaging winds within here, nevertheless. But again, there is that possibility. Again, I think we get a little bit of an inflow signature here. I think on the southern flank of that cell, I think we're starting to get some features here on reflectivity here that are starting to be concerning. We're getting, so you can see right here where we got that inflow notch, and now we got, I think we're starting to get maybe a little bit of a hook trying to form with that. So again, what that indicates here, I think that's kind of that's a sign that we do have that we're getting some interaction there at the surface with that. So again, again, this is a tornadic supercell tracking. This will, again, we're going to see how this storm behaves as it tracks into the Florence area around I-72. Again, this would be
so you want to be in your safe spot right now,
tracking towards Highway 100 and I-72. And again, we're going to see how this storm behaves. I think we still got some wind shear yet. So again, we're going to keep a very close eye on this. But again, still, I think we got that environment where I think instability and everything is on the downward trend. If anything, I think we get in some of that stronger instability down here. We can actually see some stronger inbound velocities with that. So I think that's where I think this is where we have again some surface-based convection down here, and at least over the past several hours we've been keeping a close eye on it. And obviously these again, the instability is really weak. So again, that helps us. I'm going to say that this doesn't appear to be a substantial risk of tornadoes by any means. And again, I think we're going to start to transition to more of a gusty wind, heavy rain threat. And I'm going to go ahead and see if we have much lightning with this. And if you give me a moment there.
So yeah, I'll do a little talking just for a second. Where you get centered, get to the basement, small 3-room, put many walls between you as possible. Continue to hook up like that. So we gotta take this warning pretty seriously, don't we?
Yeah, definitely. Again, I think we can see some higher mixed layer cape right around here. So
looking at the storm, this tornado wind goes in effect 8 p.m. at 7 was near Clarkville, moving northeast around 35. So let's suspect tornado and tornado. So this is tornadoes on the ground right now. So that's some good news, but there's some tighten with the storm. Tells you there is potentially some tight rotation with this. And that's going to continue to move. Anything new, Isaac? Be shaking shelter if you live in part of the planet. The hill, you need to be shaking shelter in this areas here.
Yeah, we can see. I think
we've had
a slightly weakening updraft here at the ground on the southern flank of that. But again, still some very healthy rotation with this. So I think there is still that possibility of a tornado probably right around here. It will be tracking almost due northeast here. Again, predominantly rural areas within this area. So I don't expect a lot of people watching us to be in this particular area. But again, a lot of people in west central Illinois are wondering if these storms will hold together and probably go tornado warned closer to Havana or Peoria, where a lot of our Illinois Storm Watch follower base is located. Again, I will point out that instability.
New tornado warning.
New tornado warning. Okay. Yeah, I was going to say. Oh, Pike County tornado warning has expired. Okay. Yeah, new mesoscale discussion here. Discrete low-top supercell development likely to diminish fairly quickly. So generally, yeah, I was going to say this looks to be predominantly switching to a more damaging wind concern. I think again, instability will quickly diminish, and we don't expect the tornado threat to persist well into central Illinois, or like I wouldn't expect areas around Peoria to be dealing with some with any of this. But again, couple of low top cells. Again, these are relatively low top supercells. I
Yeah,
think
we
the
got a new one.
strongest one. Again, the original tornado warning has expired, and looks like the tornado threat has diminished with that original cell that is paralleled Highway 54. And again, it is the rotation with it has considerably weakened here. See, we got those inbound velocities that have waned out. So I think that obviously the updraft has been inhibited by again, the instability is going to quickly diminish, and this is predominantly looking to be a more of a gusty wind threat with all of this activity up here. And we can see how there's more like moisture with this at the ground, again, and that it looks like this is where we have more of a capping inversion, where some of that warm air has been displaced at the ground, and it's further aloft that inhibits the threat of tornadoes with this activity
Yeah, we
up
got
here.
a new
This is where
tornado
we
warning
have
too,
some
Isaac.
low top supercells here. Yeah, I was going to say, looks like Washington County, Iowa. This cell just south of Iowa City here, north of Washington, just went tornado warned. Looks like some weak rotation with that cell.
No.
Further, when you're up here, temperatures are in the 50s, so you don't really have much at the surface, but I think you get some cool pocket downdraft.
Can you hear me, Isaac?
You get a little bit of mixing with this here, so that is going to help enhance. I think it's moving into an environment here where you may have a little bit of inflow kind of paralleling here. So, again, we're going to pay attention to this storm. Looks like again, if anything, I think that the instability is on the downward trend. So don't expect much of a risk of tornadoes heading well into central Illinois. Again, that's what the Storm Prediction Center is saying here. And I'm just seeing. Yeah, I was going to say when I looked at mesoanalysis, I didn't see really much in the area of instability. But I mean, again, at the ground, we've seen some embedded surface capes. Again, the Storm Prediction Center has said upwards of 500 joules per kilogram, and again, that's what we're talking about further downstream here, where we're getting that surface-based convection here. You can just tell on radar these cells that are quickly developing down here west of St. Louis here, probably around the I-44 corridor and towards I-70 here, closing in on, again, Pike County, Missouri, and Calhoun County, Illinois, that particular cell down there.
Look at here. I see something again. Look at that tight right there.
Yeah,
that is very tightened up.
Yeah, definitely that particular cell. Yeah, still some broad wind shear with that. So probably something that I would pay closer attention to. And again,
no confirmed report of any tornado on the ground right now. This is just a radar indicated unavailable. So let me try this again. All right, all right, here we go. Still showing up here towards Iowa again. This storm still capable of producing a tornado. So it's moving, Isaac.
Yeah, under 300 JKD MLK.
So that's still was in effect about 8:30. Storm still gives me signs of some pretty decent rotation up here. So we'll have to continue to watch that and what happens. There's a couple other kinks, right?
Yeah, you can see just with that particular cell in Washington County, Iowa, the rotation appears to be fairly weak. So if anything, you might get a brief flare along the line, a brief spin up along there. And again, it looks like the tornado warning has been dropped, unless you're looking at. Yeah, I was going to say that. No, that is still till 8:30. But again, looks like there's still a concern that there may be a brief flare up at the surface there. I'm getting a little bit of an inflow signature here near Kelowna. So I mean, along State Highway 1, closer to where it intersects Highway 22. That's where we have a little bit of a inflow notch. So what that's telling me, it looks like the rotation is slightly tightening up with that cell. So again, I think we're getting that wind shear is slightly tightening up. And again, looks like the National Weather Service advises that this particular thunderstorm will be tracking into the Iowa City area probably within the next 45 minutes or so. And again, if this rotation continues to tighten up, looks like probably areas around Iowa City may have some warning, some form of warning with this. You never know. This would be Washington, maybe southern parts of Johnson County, in part of this particular warning here. This will be tracking again into southern or parts of Johnson County, probably closing on the Iowa City area again by 8:30. And again, I'm gonna kind of loop this out here. We can see how that wind shear is very quickly tightened up. We're getting that inflow notch. That's some indication that we're getting again inflow in this area, and that's helping really enhance that low level wind shear that we have with this. So it's. I wasn't able to fetch any further radar data. Yeah, we're getting some outbound velocities with that, so I think the wind shear continues to tighten up with that. So again, that would probably lead to maybe an isolated tornado with that tracking into northern Washington, maybe parts of Johnson County. Definitely should be alert. Again, again, Iowa City proper. I wouldn't say you are in the direct path of this particular tornadic thunderstorm. But I would say western Iowa City, and again, if I'm not mistaken, this would be Coralville or North Liberty, Tiffin area. Again, I think where I-80, United States Highway 218, I think this is going to be tracking just west of that intersection, a brunt of that rotation there with that. Again, I will point out, that you can see some outbound velocities are really tightening up. We're getting some stronger outbound velocities with that. And again, you can just see we have a little bit of a gust front also with this as well, and it's enhancing that low level lift with that. So we can see just trailing along the the United States Highway 218 corridor, a lot of that low level moisture and everything. I'm interested in seeing what the dew point. Yeah, around 55 degrees. The dew point. I was going to say. Wet bulbs 55 as well. So a lot of this, we got plenty of low-level moisture with this, and the air is quite saturated, like somewhere around the low level.
Yeah, look at this size. Look at here. Look at that tighten up right.
Yeah, and again, just this isn't really factoring in much surface heating. Like this far north, and I think since instability is on much of the downward trend, at least mixed layer K values are much lower. I don't think these thunderstorms will end up holding together. I don't think they will. They will still be tornadic, tracking well into like up towards I-74 necessarily. But this cell here in Nebo, Illinois, I'm going to see how this is behaving here. But yeah, still pretty tight with that. If anything, I think these past few scans, the rotation's not as tight. So it looks like the couplet is slightly weakened. We're not really seeing much in the matter of inbound velocities towards St. Louis. These are predominantly outbound velocities here. If anything, I think this is transitioning to more of a predominantly damaging wind threat here, but still rotation, still some pretty strong rotation. I think that's where we get the strong tight couplet right around there, just right around Nebo area south of there. And I'm going to try and get some dual pol data with this. But yeah, I was going to say, yeah, I need to download some intermediate data. See how this particular storm has behaved over the past several scans. Yeah, again, if anything, you may get a brief spin up. Maybe it could be a again, where there's a little bit of rotation at base. Again, you probably won't get much debris lofted to where the radar is, so it'll be hard to confirm these particular tornadoes if they do form.
Yeah, so if you're in this warning, you need to be shaking shelter now. This is a tornado wind continues. That'd be your brief tornadoes, and not going to be your long track or anything like that. That'd be your brief ones. Briefly spin. I'll check for hail. Don't really see any hail tonight. That's one good thing.
Yeah.
We don't really see that, and they can briefly spin up some tornadoes. And that's what we're still on. But think you see anything else coming in quite yet?
Well, here I'm gonna still some. I think we get some weaker wind shear up here. You can see nothing's really as tight. Obviously, we're still monitoring this cell. I think the southern flank of that. This is where the rear flank of the storm is. You can tell it's not as well pronounced there, that inflow signature. So I think we do have some of that temperature, or that convective inhibition going on there. So again, it's warm air at the surface being displaced for like above the ground, and it's kind of eroding some of that, any of that air. And again, I think this is where I think the couplet kind of gets stale, but it's still, we do have some we still have some wind shear with that. It's broadening out probably, but again, still I would keep a close eye on this cell, especially if you live in Scott County, again, areas in northern Greene County probably, but again, the rest of Pike County. Again, we're not really. Yeah, I was going to say this is where we had that rear flank of the storm that has really tightened up. But again, I think that's where you had a stronger downdraft along there. But again, still, I think the rotation's broadening out. So when that happens, I think, again, I think that low level shear is kind of weakening, but it's still kind of, you can see how quickly the velocities change right here. So that's an indication you still have some shear. May not be directional shear in altitude necessarily. Again, I will point out again, you can see how that tornado warning in Iowa, Washington County just expired, or has been dropped. I think that's where, again, there's still some wind shear, but you're not. Okay. I think there is some warm air, or some again cold air at the ground. I think that's where we're there's not again, you got some stable air at the ground there. So again, it's and slight temperature inversion profile there that's kind of helping quiet all that activity. So, but again, this cell here, yeah, again, the wind shear appears to be broadening out a bit. So yeah, the rotation you can see is weakening there for the most part. And I would still watch the cell if you live in Milton.
That's a good thing.
Again,
so
areas just west of Jacksonville and areas around Scott County. If I think we still do have some instability out ahead of this. So if anything, we this is at 7:35. The temperatures were still in the upper 50s. So I think we do have some lingering low-level moisture here. So if anything, we just need a little bit of instability ahead of this, especially near the ground. That could enhance again and just this inflow. I think what I'm worried about here is if that will help tighten some of this wind shear and we get that low-level lift along all this. Along the lead edge of that trough, and we get that enhancing. But actually, it looks like they have just dropped both warnings.
All right, tornado warning has got canceled. There's somebody sent a message here.
Yeah. I was going to say my radar is picking up hail all in that tornado warning. Okay. Yeah, I was going to say. Looks like we did have some. Again, these are considered low top supercells. This is definitely where obviously I would consider this rotation broadening out. It's not really. I wouldn't say again when you have this rotation is broadening out. I think that's an indication you may get some gusty winds with this thunderstorm, but it's no longer where it would be considered tornadic because you have these this colder air. Again, this is your forward flanking downdraft. That's where the you don't get any it displaces all that warm air near the ground, and again that creates more stable. You get more stable air associated with this. So again, no longer tornadic. This cell here, we're again looks like still, I mean, I think we had some enhancing a downdraft with that. So if anything, I think this is where, again, we're going to see if, again, I wonder if, I'm still wondering if, again, instability is fairly weak. But again, if anything, you may get a brief spin up here along the line, but predominantly expect more of a damaging wind threat for our friends and joining us in West Central Illinois for the most part. So not really expecting really much severe weather. No more warnings and severe thunderstorm or tornado warnings in the area at the moment. So again, just we'll
if we do
keep a close eye on that. Yeah.
If we do see any more